Dear students, the new chapter is coordination compounds. The coordination compounds are the backbone of modern inorganic and bioinorganic chemistry and even chemical industry. Nowadays, we have very much importance of coordination compounds. Very much importance of coordination compounds. The chemistry of coordination compounds is an important and challenging area of modern inorganic chemistry. You just know that, and you have studied chlorophyll, which is also a coordination compound of magnesium. Hemoglobin is the coordination compound of iron. Vitamin B12 is the coordination compound of cobalt, respectively. That means the things which we have in and around us are also belongs to the coordination compounds. Variety of metallurgical processes, industrial catalysts, and analytical reagents involve the use of coordination compounds. And coordination compounds also find many applications in electroplating, textile dyeing, and medicinal industry. These are the some important fields of coordination compounds. Apart from this also, there are plenty of uses of coordination compounds. One of the very important use of in studying the hardness of water, which can be studied by using a coordination compound that is called EDTA, ethylene diamine tetraacetate. We'll study some things in future or in continuing the chapter. Before going to study the theory, we have to know the types of inorganic salt. Mainly, inorganic salts are classified into three categories. One is simple salt. So, what is simple salt? You have studied, that means you came to know by practically from your first PU, and you have done a lot of salts there. Any salt which contains only one cation and one anion, which contains one cation and one anion, are called simple salt. You can see sodium chloride, well-known simple salt, sodium chloride. This is simple. Why? Because it contains one cation, which is the cation, sodium plus, and one anion, Cl minus. So combination of Na plus and Cl minus results in what? Sodium chloride contains one cation, one anion. Therefore, it is simple salt. Similarly, we can write a large number of examples for simple salt, such as potassium bromide contains K plus B R minus, calcium carbonate contains calcium 2 plus, carbonate 2 minus. So, large number of examples we can write. Another category, there is double salt. It is the combination of two simple salt. Combination of two simple salt. Already you have studied what is simple salt. Now it is a combination of two simple salt. Example, you can say more salt. It is the more salt means it is ferrous ammonium sulfate. Ferrous ammonium sulfate, FAS, which is the combination of ferrous sulfate one simple salt, ammonium sulfate, it's another simple salt. So the combination of two simple salt is called as double salt. Large number of examples we can give: carnallite, potassium, etc. Now the very important is third. That's what we are going to study in the particular chapter: complex salt or coordination compound. What is complex salt? A salt which should contain a central atom. Normally, central atom is metal only. That's why we are using central metal atom surrounded by a definite number of ligands. Definite number of ligands. Nothing but maybe atom, maybe ion, maybe molecule, whatever it is. Definite number of ligands written in square bracket. Written in square bracket are called complex salt or coordination compound. You can see copper, central metal atom, surrounded by four ammonia molecules. Here ammonia acts as a ligand and written in square bracket. This is called complex salt or coordination compound. Sometimes you have written some ions outside the square bracket. They do not belong to this complex. They are called as counter ion. They are called as counter ion. To be complex salt, only we are considering inside the square bracket. That should contain one central metal atom and surrounded by definite number of species, nothing but ligands, nothing but an atom or an ion or a molecule. This theory first introduced by Werner, therefore the theory you can call it as Werner's theory of coordination compounds. He has given some postulates. We'll go one by one, the very important postulates. Already we studied the coordination compound means it contains a central metal atom. That central metal atom has always two valencies. That is the first postulate of the Werner. Every coordination compound containing metal has two types of valency. One is primary valency, other one is secondary valency. Then come to know what is primary valency, what is secondary valency. Primary valency is normally the oxidation state of the central metal atom, oxidation state of the central metal atom, and normally ionizable and satisfied by only negative ions. Satisfied by only negative ion. Here you have to remember central metal atom always carries positive charge. That is why it is satisfied by negative ions. Then what is secondary valency? Secondary valency, they are non-ionizable. They are non-ionizable means they are fixed. They are fixed and they are satisfied by either neutral molecules such as water, ammonia, ethylene diamine, etc. or negative ions such as Cl minus, Br minus, Cn minus, etc. Maybe neutral molecules or maybe negative ions. The secondary valency is equal to the coordination number. That means the number of ligands, secondary valency is nothing but number of ligands. The number of ligands is nothing but what? Coordination number. Coordination number. And the last postulate, this coordination number or the number of ligands present around the central metal atom which decides the geometry of the complex. Which decides the geometry, nothing but shape. What is the shape of the complex? That clearly depends on what? The secondary valency. Secondary valency or the number of ligands present around the central metal atom. Here you can see the spatial arrangement of the ligands are called as coordination polyhedra, nothing but geometry. Species within the square bracket are coordination entities or complexes, and the ions outside the square bracket are called as what? Counter ions. So in the example, potassium ferrocyanide, here potassium K is written outside the complex. Therefore, potassium is the counter ion, and the hexacyanoferrate inside the square bracket, this is the complex. That is the complex. And it says that octahedral, tetrahedral, and square planar geometrical shapes are common in coordination compound because normally the complexes or the central metal atom having the coordination number either 6, then it is octahedral, or 4, then it is tetrahedral, or once again 4, there is a square planar. There is a difference between tetrahedral and square planar, though both have the coordination number is 4. In tetrahedral, hybridization of the central metal atom is sp3, and in square planar, hybridization is sp2. That hybridization decides the geometry of the complex that you can study in next slides valence bond theory. Examples can say cobalt hexacyanocobalt, pentamino chloride cobalt, tetramino dichloride cobalt. All these three examples you observe. First case, we have 6 ligands. Here also 5 plus 1, 6 ligands. Here also 4 plus 2, 6 ligands. So all the three example of 6 ligands is, that's why they are called octahedral complexes. And another here, nickel tetracarbonyl, it is square planar. That is square planar. And platinum tetrachloride, it is tetrahedral complex. Tetrahedral complex. Now the difference between the double salt and a complex. What is the difference? Both double salt as well as complexes are formed by their combination of two or more stable compounds in the stoichiometric ratio. They have certain difference. What is the difference? Double salt, say such as carnallite or more salt, etc., when you add them into water, they dissociate completely to give the ions. Say for example, carnallite, KCl, MgCl2, 6H2. When you dissolve that in water, which ionizes to give K plus Cl minus plus Mg2 plus. That means the ions present in the carnallite are only three. That is K plus, Cl minus, Mg2 plus, and Cl2. And water molecule is just hydration. The entire ions present in the double salt undergo complete ionization. That is the double salt. Remember, when a double salt is added to water, which undergoes complete ionization to give the ions, Whereas in complex, the ions on the central metal written inside the square bracket, they do not undergo ionization. They do not undergo ionization. They means in the example, potassium ferrocyanide. Here within the square bracket, we have iron and cyanide. They do not undergo ionization. This complex remain as such when you add it to water, but the counter ion undergo dissociation. Here counter ion undergoes dissociation to give K plus and the complex, but inside the complex, whatever may be the ions we have, they do not undergo dissociation. Now we can go for some important definitions under coordination compound. First we'll go for coordination entity. A coordination entity constitutes a central metal atom or ion bonded to a fixed number of ions or molecules. That's what I said in the beginning. A complex salt or coordination entity or coordination compound is nothing but it should have a central atom. Normally it is metal only. That's why it is called central metal atom, surrounded by or bonded by a fixed number of ions or molecules. Say here cobalt is central metal atom surrounded by 3 chlorides, 3 ammonia, hence it is called coordination entity. Cobalt is central metal atom, chlorides are the negative ligand and these are the neutral ligands, but totally a central atom surrounded by fixed number of ligands. Therefore, this is an example for coordination entity. Coordination entity. Other examples you can write. Nickel tetracarbonyl. Here nickel is the central atom and 4 carbon monoxide or carbonyl ligands surrounded by it. And platinum is the central atom in a second example surrounded by 2 chlorides, 2 ammones. Iron is the central atom surrounded by 6 cyanides. Cobalt is the central atom surrounded by 6 ammonia. So all these are some examples for coordination entity. Second, central atom or ion. In coordination entity, the atom or ion to which a fixed number of ions or groups are bound in a definite geometrical arrangement around it is called central atom. That means in a coordination entity, we have studied it. It should contain central atom. Which is central atom? It is the atom or ion surrounded by a fixed number of species. That may be atom, ion, or molecules with the regular geometry. With the regular geometry is called a central atom. Example, you can see. Example, in the complex tetra aqua dichlorido nickel complex, nickel is the central atom because it is surrounded by 2 chloride, 4 water molecules octahedrally. Here, cobalt is central atom surrounded by 1 chloride, 5 ammonia. Therefore, once again, it is octahedral. Here, iron is surrounded by 6 cyanide octahedrally. That's why nickel, cobalt, iron are the central atoms in the example. These central atoms, they are called Lewis acids. You have studied that in your first PU level. Lewis acid is nothing but either an atom or a molecule which has capacity to accept a lone pair of electrons. Which has capacity to accept the lone pair of electrons. Hence, here is the central metal atom. They are always accepting the pair of electrons donated by the ligands. That's why central metal, since it accepts the electron, therefore it is Lewis acid, and the ligands which donate the lone pair of electrons, therefore they are called as Lewis base. Students, do remember central metal atom Lewis acid, ligands are Lewis base because they donate the lone pair of electrons. Next, we can move on to the ligands. What are ligands? That's what it is. Either ion or molecule which bound to the central metal atom, in the coordination entity are called as ligands. That means either an atom or ion or molecule which have capacity to donate the lone pair of electrons, and makes a sigma bond with the central metal atom. Such ions or molecules are called as ligands. They may be simple, such as Cl minus, H2O, ammonia, or complicated, nothing but macromolecules like proteins, etc. A variety of ligands are present. These ligands further classified into different categories: unidentate, bidentate, tri, poly, etc. How? If a ligand which contains only one donor atom, Cl minus, only one donor atom, H2O, two atoms are there, but donor is only oxygen. NH3, two atoms, donor is nitrogen. That's why any ligand, if it has only one donor, a ligand which has only one donor, then such ligands are called as what? Unidentate. Such ligands are called unidentate. Similarly, if a ligand which contains two donors, say here, ethane 1, 2 diamine, it is also called ethylene diamine, in short EN. EN. There are two nitrogen, both the nitrogens are donors, therefore they are this ethylene diamine or ethane 1, 2 diamine is called didentate. Similarly, oxalate C2O4 2 minus is also didentate because they have two donors. That's why they are called didentate. Sometimes ligands may have three or more than three donors. If they have only three donors, then they are called tridentate, tetradentate, so on continuous. In single word, we can use them as what? Polydentate. Means a ligand which contains three or more than three donors, then such ligands are called as polydentates. One more important ligand is ethylene diamine tetraacetate, EDTA. It's hexadentate. Why is hexadentate? Ethylene, you can say CH2CH2, diamine, two nitrogen. So these two nitrogen also donor. Tetra, one, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, it is tetra acetate. CH2COO minus. It is called acetate. 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, ethylene diamine tetra acetate. It is hexadentate. Where is hexadentate? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 charges and 2 nitrogen donors. Therefore, it is hexadentate. Hexadentate. One more type of ligands are there, chelating ligand. This is especially exist either didentate or polydentate ligands. What is the condition? A didentate ligand or a polydentate ligand, they have to donate their lone pair of electrons. So you can see oxalate, didentate. Here O minus donates, O minus donates. Both the O minus donates the ligands. That means a didentate or a polydentate, they should donate their pair of electrons to same central metal atom. Donates to what? Same central metal atom, hence forms what? Cyclic structure, and hence forms the cyclic structure. Such type of ligands are called chelating ligand. Such ligands are called as what? Chelating. Remember, chelating ligand. Students, remember a didentate or a polydentate ligand which donates its donor, two or more donors, to the same central metal atom, and hence it has to form cyclic structure, are called as chelating ligand. Remember, they are more stable when compared to the other complexes. Such complexes called chelate complex tend to be more stable than similar complexes. One more category, ambidentate. What is ambidentate? Certain times a ligand which contains two donors, a ligand which contains two donors, but donate only one at a time. Donate only one at a time. Such ligands are called as ambidentate ligand. Here you can see nitrito, NO2 nitrito. Here nitrogen is also donor, oxygen is also donor, thiocyanide, sulfur is donor, nitrogen is donor, but donate only one at a time. In nitrito, either nitrogen can donate or oxygen can donate, but not both. Similarly, in thiocyanide, either sulfur has to donate or nitrogen has to donate, but not both. Such ligands are called as ambidentate. Remember, two or more donors present in the ligand, but donate only one at a time. One at a time. So observe here, nitrito, how it links? Metal is linking with the ligand nitrito. Here linking with what? Nitrogen. Oxygen is there, but oxygen doesn't donate here. Nitrogen donates its pair of electrons to metal. Therefore, we can say nitrogen is donor in nitrito. Hence, it is called nitrito N. Why? Nitrogen is donor. Similarly, same metal, if donated by oxygen, then it is called nitrito O. If two same ligand, then ligands are same, and the name also same. Ambidentate having the same name, nitrito. Then we have to mention their donor while writing its name. Nitrito N, nitrito O. Similarly, another thiocyanate. Oh, this is called thiocyanate because sulfur is donor. If nitrogen is donor, then it is called isothiocyanate. Oh, isothiocyanate. These are called ambidentate ligands. Remember, any ligand if they contain two or more donors but donate only one at a time, such ligands are called as ambidentate ligand. If the ligands have the same name, then you have to mention the donor while writing its name.